What's up, my dudes? Today I wanted to talk about mid-control and province. I'm going to be splitting it into a T and a CT section, and I'm going to be talking about why it is so important to have mid-control as both teams, and how you can get this mid-control. Enjoy! So on T side, mid-control is essential because without having any mid-control, that limits your possible options really hard, because A long is a narrow hallway and it's the only access to A if you don't want to take mid-control, and it's basically the same with tunnels. Tunnels is also a narrow space where it's easy for at least one CT already to hold off this whole way to the side. That means that both these spaces are pretty easy to control for the CT side by themselves. You really want to get mid-control because you get a lot more options. You can access A from middle and you can access B from middle. There's those 5 entrances to the middle: underpass, beacon, stairs, house and A-con. And having those connector areas as a possible way to the sides doubles your options. So this is why you obviously want to have mid-control. You want to be able to spontaneously decide a change of plans if an A take or a B take isn't successful. If you have mid-control, you can just go to either side. If you don't have mid-control and a take on A long fails, you have to rotate all the way over banana into tunnels to attempt a B take, and that is just very likely to fail. Taking mid-control as T's is fairly easy, but most players don't actually know how. The first smoke that is really essential for having this mid-control is this one. You have to line up with this spot on the wall and find this tiny corner on this left ledge and then jump throw. And this is gonna greatly block off the A-con area. Of course, this default CT position would be playing here on connector with a long-range weapon like an M16. The smoke kinda sucks. Axable, please fix. But normally the smoke would block this line of sight off and really limit this deep view into middle and this stairs control that the CTs have. This can be paired with the team flash, which is lined up pretty much the same, and which will also blind someone trying to peek stairs from A-con with a long-range weapon. And if someone throws that flash, your teammate can peek out immediately after it pops, maybe get a lucky headshot, or otherwise, if the smoke's already there, you can just you don't have to worry about A-con anymore for about 15 seconds, and can just solely focus on B connector. Having a smoke down here is especially advantageous if you want to push A, since a normal CT setup would be something like this: one player standing here and one player in pillars, and like this CTs normally do not have much information on A long either. That means you can execute a fairly good A split push. If you have someone sneaking up A long and sneak him up behind the smoke, you deploy it here, and then as soon as that smoke fades, you throw flashes through, like this, pretty basic, and then you attack the side, and your A long players smoke off pillars maybe, or just throw a smoke somewhere over here that will decrease what the pillar guy can do and just plant the bomb over here. And like this, you easily have a control without the CTs being able to react in time, hopefully. Obviously, if you have mid control, you can also do some crazy stuff like smoking this off, just running through here and doing a wide B split, going through winery and then farming up with other players on tunnels and B connector. The second essential smoke is thrown from over here. You line up with the right side of this pillar, and you want to see the side of this box as one line, and then you go to the imaginary top right of this and a bit to the right and normally throw. And this is the most reliable smoke I could find for smoking off this B connector area, and it's just gonna prevent early aggression and early insight into what's going on stairs and on house. This B connector position is especially dangerous if you want to swarm out on middle, because it's just so powerful against those two positions especially, and smoking that off really on the other hand gives you opportunities to focus solely on a connector. In the best case, you have both smoked off, and that means from the beginning of the round you have you deny a lot of information to the CTs. So you got mid control, they don't know what's going on, and since rotating to one of those sides takes a long time for the CTs through winery or even through hallway here, you can just decide to quickly push one side and they will only notice quite late. So you basically completely control how the further round is going to be played. There's also a flash like this that will just blind anyone peeking aggressively on B connector. With that flash, they will just have to fall back, and if you smoke that off right away, you have basically nothing to worry about at the moment. And obviously it's also important on A, but especially on the B-bomb side, you always have to be walking without making any sound, especially when you enter tunnels, or in general you have to start walking without sound from about here, otherwise a guy in B connector will be able to hear you. So if you have, I don't know, two people walking up tunnels, but not playing too aggressively, otherwise the CTs will get early information, and the other players who got mid control sneaking up connector, throwing some flashes, symbolized by this nade, and hopefully smoking off winery maybe. That also means that you can just explode into the side, pushing them back, denying them information, and then punishing them for not knowing what's going on. In general, just throw down those basic smokes over here, and deny the CTs as much early information as possible, and then decide what you want to go for. Obviously, if you get an entry on one side, you could go there, but you always can decide otherwise if you want, and there's not really much the enemy team can do to prevent that. A lot of people think that this map is T-sided. I personally don't think so. I think this map is pretty balanced. You just have to know what you're doing. Early mid aggression is easier from T side, but it's also doable from CT side, and I'll show you how that is possible now. The need for CT side control of middle is fairly reactionary, since you don't want to allow the terrorists to do exactly what I just explained. So basically you want to counter early terrorist mid-control by doing basically the same thing as the terrorists. There are multiple good smokes you can use. You have to smoke off stairs and house early, and I would suggest you throw these smokes on a regular basis. The stair smoke would be lined up like this. This stone here with the ledge on top of this house. You throw it normally. It's also featured in my Prevent Smoke video, and it denies the stair guys information towards A connector, but also towards B connector. And then there's also the house smoke, line up with the left side of this fourth stone tooth kind of thing, and these plain trails, and normally throw it. And that one's gonna block off the vision towards house. That means that a guy on B connector can go in aggressively, because the house guys can't see you and the stairs guys can't peek you. One thing teams like to do, if you have a good spawn, for example, like not in the back here but over here, they just run immediately. If you have to not get stuck in one of those corners, and just immediately jump down here into underpass. That mostly works because of the timings on this map. Even how a guy at house will not catch a quick CT in time. That means that you could take quick control of banana. But as you might notice, quickly after you drop down here, there will be a guy in house and there will be guys ready to peek from stairs. So if there's also guys coming up banana, you're kind of cornered here. That means you have to coordinate that with someone pushing down tunnels, even throwing a support flash. A flash that will just land out there and flash anyone gone up banana, and just supporting you, maybe getting 1 or 2 entry frags, and then you want to be able to either smoke this off and rotate back together through tunnels, or maybe even just stay here. If you cleared banana, you can stay on underpass, and that means your team now has 3 spots to have mid control. B connector, the area towards A connector, and underpass, and that already means a house guy is gonna have to be worried about 2 guys picking you at once, and there's no way he can swing out and peek A connector. So that means you limit the opportunities of the terrorists early on. You can also not throw the smokes, have one guy stand over here and be connector ready to peek out, and then throw a team flash, also somewhat like this. And that one might blind, if jump thrown, I'm not sure, I have to test that again. Might blind someone peeking from house and also someone peeking from stairs. That means for a second it's safe for a guy on B connector to peek out and take a possible fight, or just drop down through towards underpass and try to clear banana. So the stairs position here is actually broken. Not just because you can control A long and middle quite easily, even though it's hard to do both at the same time. That's why you need at least 2 players on A. But because of a certain radar glitch that I discovered a while ago, and it still didn't get fixed. Take a look at the radar. Now someone appeared at the radar. Let me show you where this person is. He is not peek in here, and he's not even about to peek out. He's standing down here. But I can still see him on the radar. That means if you have a scope weapon, you get early information. Even if if the T's are not peeking you, you have early information on someone maybe trying to push mid. You can punish that with a nade, for example, or you can just smoke it off right away. But this position can not only be used in order to hold stairs and maybe prevent someone from peeking this way from house towards Acon, even though I wouldn't recommend peeking like that, because then you're automatically vulnerable to someone peeking from stairs. But it can also be used to further aggress into middle. Firstly, you need to be sure that A long is clear, so at the beginning you want to help someone, maybe throwing a pop flash like this, and the guy peeking out, and if it's sure that A long is clear for now, you can work to get further mid control. There's two smokes you could throw here. One would just would be thrown like this, I think, and it would block off house from this side, so you can also do that from this side. You could also throw a normal stairs smoke like this and block off stairs. So these are basically the same smokes you could also throw from B. But there's also one smoke I lately discovered, and it's thrown like the house smoke, but a bit further to the left. And it's gonna stop at this ledge. And it's not only gonna block view from house and from stairs, but it's landing in here. And that means that you can take further aggression. If you're quick, you can walk down here, throw a flash like this, and peek out further. You can sit here, control underpass, you can peek a bit more aggressively, and have a crossfire with your teammates supporting you from belong, and maybe even from over there at hallway. This is a risky position, obviously, so you want to make sure your teammates are the ones throwing the smoke for you, not yourself. So in case you get cornered, you can just throw down another smoke over here and back off with another teammate flashing for you maybe. But this way you can limit the T's options even further, especially if you also have underpass control. You really can just play passively here and punish T's trying to go A or trying to go up B connector, and this will really limit the T's options to only pushing tunnels or A long, and obviously, as I already mentioned, that won't work out that well for them. So this mid aggression from Acon is risky, but it could pay off very well. Yeah, definitely try it. So that's basically it from my part. These are the basics of mid control, why and how on Province. Yeah, like, subscribe and comment if you want. I don't really mind, whatever. And peace out.